When Jimmy was a young boy in China, southern China, about 100 miles south of Canton, when he started in his great uncle's Kung Fu school, he did not start the way we do. He told me that when he was very young, he would have to stand in his horse stances for 1 hour at a time. Try to stand in a full horse for 1 hour. I make my students do 2 or 3 minutes at a time and they're already belly aching. Try it for 1 hour when you're 5 or 6 years old. Some of you probably saw Jimmy's thighs. Jimmy had incredibly strong legs, and that's probably why. Standing in those horse stances all of his youth really did it. When he learned forms, he would learn 1 move a day. 1 move. The forms that we have right now, Jimmy broke up from the originals. The San Soo original forms in the books are basically 300 moves. 1 move a day, 6 days a week for an entire lunar year. They did things by the lunar year. So he learned 1 move a day. When he came to America and started teaching in America, people don't want to learn a 300 move form. Just think about that. So he figured that if he was going to make a go of his style, he would break it up into segments. That's why we have 26 move forms. Actually, we have 20 move forms with a 6 move Jung Hao, or greeting, to begin the form. That's a salutation, a greeting. All the salutes that we do, the salutations that we give, all have meanings. And I was talking to Jimmy one day and I said, how do you know which salute goes in which form? He says, it depends on how I feel about the people I'm showing it to. If you ever saw Jimmy in a form go like this, that means he had little respect for the people he was teaching. Normally, you show your entire audience your weapon, whether it's a fist, whether it's a sword, whatever it is. If you have little respect for them, you're better than them, you hold them in little regard, you come over the top and around. You don't even turn your head to the side. And we were going through the video that you're going to see later today of Jimmy, and one of the Chinatown demonstrations, he did that salute. So when you see that, look for that. You wonder, what in the world? Why did he do that? Okay. In doing the forms and breaking the forms up, Jimmy said you have to think that you're in a sphere, a circle, a complete globe, around this way and over the top, a complete globe. Everything we do in San Soo is based on that globe. If you could see, and we're going to be working on book number 6 for the instructors, we'll have the foot patterns and the basic pattern that San Soo is built on in the book. It's a large diamond with a circle, and inside the diamond are all small diamonds. And each of those forms, those 300 move forms, started at a specific spot on the diamond. Whether it started in the middle, at the top, the left side, or the bottom, or the right side. If you think of the form as a calendar, you could actually tell what time of the year Jimmy learned that form, because you would know where on the base you were. Remember, Chinese is top to bottom, left to right, so you would know whether you started, whether you're finishing the form. That's why Jimmy said it's good to take an entire year's forms, if you ever have extra time, a lot of extra time, and put them together in your own mind, because they were given to him that way, in a full year's form. Okay, now the circle part of the form is the hand movements, the outer blocks. That's why when we step here, the circles are here. We're not blocking this way, we're blocking circularly. So the form on the outer part is a circle. The footwork is all triangular. When you step in a form, some people you see step like that. If you see someone who knows the art, they glide into the moves, back on balance, glide to the next move, back on balance, turn. You'll never see anybody who's been doing the art and knows what they're doing step like this. That's not the way the art is. We want to be in contact with the floor as much as we can, except obviously when you're kicking. So as you glide from a form, you start up, slide, side, back. You're gliding and sliding. Never lift your foot up unless you're doing a kick or something of that nature. I remember I asked Jimmy, one of the forms he showed, you started in a full horse this way. And he said you draw a circle with your foot as you step out. Then you extend it the other way, you draw a circle the other way. And even that form, you slid on the floor. The hand movements in the forms are supposed to be done as if you're holding a ball. When you're blocking, punching, chopping, they are all done as if you have a ball in your hand. Let's say you start from sit. The ball is on the right side. Step forward, now turn the ball over. Now the ball is on the left side. Turn the ball over. Whether it's a chop, a punch, whatever it is, you are working with a ball. The ball is here. If you're going to step in and chop, it follows a natural flow from the ball. Okay? Follows a natural flow. The first 6 moves of every form, as I said, Jimmy added as a greeting to break the forms up. We always come back from the heart. Either extend from the heart or bring it back to the heart. What you're saying, and it's very symbolic, when you come from your heart, 2 things. You're saying, I give my heart to my mother country, to my homeland. You're coming from your heart. You never straighten your arms. You're always in a semicircle. That's because, again, you have a ball. You have the globe. When you roll down, you are rolling around the ball. So you're bringing the ball here this way, and you're rolling around under the ball, over the top and under. And almost every salute goes around the ball. Okay, later on we're going to demonstrate one of the ways to really perfect your weapon usage by working with balls and strings. One of my students, as I said, Tony, is very good at it, and I think you'll appreciate what he's going to show. Okay, where is Tony? Tony's going to walk through a form with you, and we're going to describe step by step what he's doing, and then we're going to do the form the same way. He's going to do it very slowly. Okay, very simple. And the first move for the claw, as he came to his right hip, the ball is on the right side. As he clawed, he turned it over and went into the eyes. That's why our other hand is always this way. You never bring your hand back this way. It's always palm up or out with it. Okay, do it again, Tony. Same Jung Hao. Same thing. Okay, now in working with the circle, okay, thanks Tim, we'll add some more in a second. In working with the circle, you start from the center of the circle. You will punch in all directions around the circle, and you will step within the circle. It may be straight out, it may be up 45 degrees, it may be straight overhead, but remember, you are working in a circle. As you come down 45 degrees or straight down, you are working in the circle. Then it comes around, back 45, straight out, up, and then straight up. So you have gone around the circle. You've gone the circle this way. Now each of those 45 degrees, you can split again into another angle in between. So if you saw it done, you would just see complete angles within that circle. When we strike straight ahead, and we strike 45 degrees, and we strike to the half, back 3/4, all the way to the rear as this form does. Again, you're going around the circle. Circle that way, circle this way. The whole form is built on a circle. Okay, why don't we stand up? Give yourselves a little bit of room, and let's try doing the Jung Hao of this form. Okay, Tom, why don't you lead us? It's hard looking at it. Face this way. So they're going the same way you are. Okay, set. 1. Now notice his foot. Some people, when they kick, they follow their foot. When we kick, that foot comes back under for balance. Then we step. 2. He's got the ball. The ball came around to the right shoulder and then claw straight ahead. 3. Single down windmill, claw straight ahead. 4. Again, follow the ball all the way around. Hold this for a second, Tom. As you step back, the ball is here, just like this in fists. As you step back, again, we slide to the set and then back. The ball comes here and turns over as you turn back. So you have that ball still as you strike. Okay, now reverse it the other way. Follow the ball with your hands. Okay, is that 4? 5. Okay, 6. Close from your heart. Remember, keep that circle. Okay, let's do it one more time and really concentrate on following the ball with your hands. Set. 1. On balance. Knee stays right here. 2. Follow the ball around. Good, real good. 3. Single windmill, balls at your other hip. 4. Follow the ball. 5. 6. Close from your heart. Some people close at your nose. Some people close at your stomach. Should be ideally straight out from your heart, right in front of you. When you salute at a demonstration, straight out from your heart. Unless you're humble, and I've seen Jimmy bow from the head when he really respected the people he was showing. Bow. Okay, let's go on to number 7. Go 7 through 10. Good, okay. Let's walk through it one more time. 7. Punch past your knee. Now remember our angle. 45 degrees down. 45, not out here, not here. You ever wonder when you're punching there, what are you doing? You're bringing his head down from here. Then you're punching. Sometimes we'll hammer blow from there. The block brings his head down to your knee and then punch at that 45-degree mark. 8 or 9, whatever we are. 8. Left punch now. 9. 10. Right palm. Very good. Okay. Let's see if you guys can do it without Tony. Roll down from in doing the forms, notice the footwork is on a plus sign or a cross. Slide forward. Some people, when they kick and stuff, they move out at an angle. When you slide back, your feet are in that straight line. When we came for number 7, you step out on that straight line. As JP said, your feet are not straight ahead in the half horse, they are at angles. So when you step across, you want to step on that straight line. Ideally, when you start a finish, you should be able to start a form, you should be able to mark a spot on the floor and finish within 4 to 6 inches of that spot. If your stepping is correct, your distances are right, and everything, you will finish perfectly if all your stepping is aligned. You will not be off in any way. Sometimes you watch other styles and they start in this direction and they finish facing over there. Not San Soo. 3 to 6 inches from where you started. Okay, that's good. Thank you. We'll just take that much of the form. In San Soo, we have 5 belt levels. The Chinese, the early Taoism, felt there were 5 elements in nature. So we have 5 belt levels. They also believe there are 8 spheres, 8, I don't remember exact term, my notes are over there, but there are 8 levels. And that's why we have 8 levels of black belt, based on Taoism principles. The early history of Chinese martial arts is based in Taoism, then went to Buddhism. The yin and yang is Taoist. When we do our salute, we are doing a Taoist salute. The fist is the earth. The fist is masculine. I believe the fist is yin. When you cover it with the circle of your empty hand, this is the feminine. This is the heavens surrounding the earth. They go together. You look very awkward if you punch like this and finish. You look even more awkward if you palm like that. But when you put them together, you have the full yin and yang, masculine, feminine, the earth surrounded by the heavens. Okay, we're moving pretty fast. Tony's going to demonstrate. Carl and I asked Jimmy, how can we learn weapons fast? Because we had barely scratched the surface of weapons when we started with him. Even though we were black belts, we had not really done a lot of weapons. Jimmy said when he was a young boy, his great uncle made him work with the balls and strings, and he brought them for us to look at. His had handles on them. The ones Tony's going to demonstrate with don't have handles, but they're just as effective. You may want to even make a set for yourself. They're very simple, and they really work well. Okay, Tony? In San Soo, every weapon we use is basically renewed on the figure eight, the renewable figure eight. He's going to put them together. Okay, just to give you the idea of the single right and left hands. Okay, now he's going to split them. He's just going to circle outside and then cross over. Okay, good. Now he's going to do the figure eights forward. This is a piece of cake. What do you see him do it backwards? Okay, now he's going to just do the outside circles backwards and cross over. Okay, now reverse figure eights. Great, okay, Tony. We'll do it slow. He was just telling me the wood on his sticks is real slick, so he's going to do it very slowly. But we're going to start with the staff. How do you convert that into figure eights with the staff? Again, the basic renewal for San Soo is a figure eight. He's going to do two hands together, figure eights. Again, following the same thing he did with the balls. Then right hand. Then left hand. Then renew outside hand to hand. Okay, good. Now he's going to do it with the double sticks. This is his favorite weapon, but they're real slick. They got a little wet. So just renew one. And then left hand. Then both. Whatever weapon you're using, if you can do the renewals of the figure eight, you've got a good start. And double swords. Right hand first. Then left hand. Then the figure eights. Okay, good. Now he's going to close the weapon and do them backwards. Weapons closed, figure eights. Okay, do it again, Tom. Let me see that one more time. Closed figure eights. All right, now he's going to do them backwards. Backwards figure eights like he did with the balls. You think that's easy? Try it sometime without doing it with the balls first. Thanks, Tony. Very good. I have been remiss in my studio in making all of my lower belt students do it with the balls after Jimmy said it was the biggest help he could think of. You know, I'm a little slow learner, so he tried to go as simple as he could for me. Okay, on our schedule today, how are we doing for time? Okay, in doing your forms, we do make noises in the forms. Those of you that are members and are getting the newsletter, I wrote a little article in there on breathing. On the video that the association is offering, Jimmy explains. I took it almost verbatim from the video. He explains that you do the sounds only when doing forms. And the sounds are basically to help you breathe. I've listed them for you. The ha, it's hard to put into words. Some people, when they write it, just make it H-A. Some make it H-A-A. I put the K in because Jimmy always made a guttural at the end of it. And so that's why I spelled it that way. But the huck is a striking down force. Whether it's a palm, a punch, a hammer blow, it's a straight down movement away from you. The second one there is the yuck. Same thing, yuck, with a guttural ending. And that's a quick snap punch. Yuck. Straight out, away from you punch. The third one on there is the wha. That's claw, chop, anything where you're pulling back into you. Jimmy explained that the way you make these sounds affects the way you breathe, and although he didn't like to talk about chi, it affects the internal workings of your body. When he stepped out I mean, you could just see his chest, you could see everything moving that way. The kicks we have on there are just each time. He also said you don't do them on every move. You want to vary the pace of your forms. You don't want to do your form the same pace all the way through. You want to speed up, slow down. When you speed up, it's good then to put your sound in. When you step out, and you're moving faster, if your audience is sleeping, like some of you are now, I see, it should wake you up. If you've rolled down from your salute and people will sit up. It breaks the monotony, especially if you've taken two hand forms, put them together to make a weapon form. You want to do the varying pace and the sounds to keep the people watching you on their toes. But Jimmy said when you're fighting, you don't make sounds. And the video explains it. Why? I won't go into it right now. In doing the forms, you want to remember simple little things and make it look precise. When you roll down, when you're in your kickstand, and you roll down, your foot and your hands come back at the same time. That's the precision and the beauty. I know in Bill Lassiter's article that we had in the last issue, he talked about making sure the students do the forms precisely. Jimmy always said San Soo forms aren't beautiful. I think they're great when they're done with precision and they're done the right way. To watch someone in San Soo, to watch Jimmy do a form is really great. Just remember, sounds periodically, vary the pace, and roll down, foot comes back, and you should be right where you started. Okay, a couple minutes early. I cut the form short, so we have a couple minutes. Does anybody have any questions about the forms, or I can cover real quick? Yes, sir.
What material did Jimmy's balls? Well, he didn't have tennis balls then, so what did he use?
He just had, the balls that he has are racket balls, the ones that, the blue racket balls. I don't know. He never said. Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, what were the balls made of when Jimmy was younger and was using the balls? I don't know. He never said. The balls, you can make them with tennis balls, racket balls, anything of that nature. Just something that's not going to be like cue balls and knock yourself out. And I've done that too. That hurts. Gentlemen, wear a cup when you work with the balls. Yes, sir.
Some of us have talked about putting the forms together and doing them that way by stacking them on end. And while I'm trying to do that, I found that the form books really aren't sometimes not really in order. Is there a guideline? Do you guys have what forms are which?
He asked if the forms, if there's some kind of a guideline to put the forms together so you know they're in order. The teaching books that Carl Lorenzen did with Jimmy, I'm positive, because I helped him do them, those follow 5 years straight through from day one. So if you take, say, book 1, well, book 1 was a little different. He took some of the older forms. But if you start with book 2 and go from the beginning of book 2 to the end of book 2 or book 3, those are years forms, full-year forms, if you have those. Pardon?
Form 20, or 21 to 40 of the continuous form.
Right. If we just number them consecutively to make it easier, that's all. But if you start, and when you're doing your continuous form, remember, you want to leave each Jung Hao out of the form. Don't put each Jung Hao in, because then you'll be closing every time. You want to go from move 25 right into move 7 of the next form. Don't close and don't do the Jung Hao. Yes, sir?
Is there a specific number within the form, as an example, an odd or even number that would distinguish a kick or a punch, chop?
You mean within the numbers of the forms themselves?
Number would always be a kick, as an example, after a certain number.
It depends. Excuse me. Jimmy taught forms for so many years. If you went through a series of forms, maybe for 3 or 4 years, that might be the case. Move 6 might be a kick in almost every one of them, or move 8 might be a hammer blow or something like that. But if you take them from the day he started teaching all the way through to the last set, no. Just remember that you're going in directions, ideally fighting foes in those directions. And again, remember the 5 elements. You in the middle are standing for the earth, and you've got the 4 directions, which is the 4 elements around you. And each element is a direction. And that's the way they're based. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I have a question about half horse stance. Should your feet be parallel, and is this a cheating stance?
I teach parallel. Parallel. If you lock that back knee out this way, and you could be in for trouble. If it's this way and you get hit, that knee's going to turn in. But if it's locked out or this way, which I've seen some styles do, and I saw the craziest thing the other day. Somebody showed me a Vietnamese style where they're like this, and your opponent's over here. I mean, you're set low, it's crazy. Thanks, Jimmy. Yes, sir. Yes.
When you're going from place to place and doing the different forms and putting them together, the transition moves.
Right.
Are they standard, or do you just kind of make it up as you go?
The transition moves are just like transitions with weapons. If you've seen, Tony, can I borrow your staff for a second? Transition move with a weapon can be several ways, and it's the same with the forms. You can do behind the back for transition, behind here to get that way. You can come around your head. It doesn't really matter. The same thing as with the footworks. Footwork, usually, it does help to know where you're starting with the form so you know in the next move where you're going to be going. Okay, that's why basically you always finish the same spot. Okay, if you move, let's say you're at move 25, and it's a hammer blow. Let's say you're back here. 25 is a hammer blow, and then 26 is the close. If you're back here from 25, and move 6 is over there, then your transition will just step. Remember, slide across to the next transitional move. But there are transitions. If you finish the form and you're up at the top of the diamond, then you need to step back, turn, and then maybe turn again to start the next move. But that just like the renewal with the weapon, you can do it basically any way you want. Does that answer your question?
No.
Question?
Yeah. The first 4 forms that are in Jimmy's first book are uniquely different. And someone had mentioned they were for many years before.
They were.
A lot of movement. And the way that they are written, it doesn't seem to end up back at the home part.
Okay, and there was some question about those forms. Those forms were taught around 1970. He asked why the first few forms in book 1 are different than basically the rest of the forms. Those first 3, I believe, or 4 forms were taught in 1970, late 69, early 70. And some of the earliest forms Jimmy taught were a little bit different than the later forms. The later ones, the last 15 years or so, he got pretty uniform. But yeah, they are different. Yes, sir.
I noticed the older forms, because I remember back in 73, they were quite different from what we're doing now, but are those forms available? Do people still have those?
I'm sure some of the older instructors have them, but we really didn't, Carl didn't go back and do any but those first 3, so you'd have to talk to some of the older guys and see if they still have them. Mm-hmm.
Okay, clear up something for me again on that transition. As you're moving within the sphere, and there's the diamond shape, and you're going each form begins at a different point throughout the year.
Right.
And then you end up coming back full circle at the beginning. The transition from each point to the other, is there a specific way that you go from, you finish this and you go this way?
No. No, there's not a specific transition. It's just like varying renewal with a weapon. It's just the exact same way. You can step and turn. You can do it basically any way you want.
Those books, the instruction books, the instructor books that you've been talking about, does that have that outline exactly how you go from this point to this point from one, through your...
In the ones that we have, no. Carl has done one full form.
Because I'm interested in how to put that together, where I'm stepping and ending and beginning at a specific point. That would be very...
Carl has done one full form all the way through. Jimmy walked through all the transitions with him so they made sense. And we're trying to get him maybe to put that in book 6 for everybody so that you can follow through with that one full year's form. But it took him a long time to get all that together. Yes, sir.
Well, very simple question. I noticed years ago when the forms were taught, and you're doing a snap kick. Okay, let's say a left snap kick. The left hand seemingly goes down to guard the groin. And in the recent years, a lot of instructors have lost that, or they're doing it different. What was the original way Jimmy taught that?
Whichever foot you're kicking with, that's the hand that's down.
Down guard the groin.
Right.
That is the proper way.
Right. You're kicking right. Right hand is down, left hand is up. And you can see in some of the, if you just go back to the instructor's manuals, you can see in the drawings that Carl drew them that way, because that's the way it is. The foot you're kicking with, that's the hand that's down. Anything else? Yes, Dave.
Jack here explains about property.
Oh, good, good. Tony, can you bring your balls up? Terrible question. The string, they're basically custom. You go past the end of you should hold them in your fingertips, and the string should go a few inches past your own elbow, and then the ball's unattached. I just did these with a washer on the end, and then I used nylon rope so I could seal it. As I said, Jimmy's had wooden handles on this end. His were about 1.5 inches to 2 inch wooden handles. And you can really fling those a little better with the handles. Yes, sir?
Jimmy, you have some long string balls also?
I never saw him use those. He just brought these when he was showing us. But I don't see where there would be any, I mean, you could make them any length you wanted, really. You really could, depending on what you were trying to learn to do. Just as long as they're flexible, you know, you don't want to use real hard cord. You want to use something that's like this nylon that's real loose. And as you can see, Tony was taking easy on you today. I told him to go slowly so you could see. Tony whips those things mighty fast, but he works with them an awful lot. Yes, sir?
Further developments on the basic figure eight form.
Uh-huh.
Is that just a basic form, or are there further developments on that?
On the renewals with the balls? Is that what you're talking about?
With the figure eight, is that just a basic concept? Or are there
Right.
Yeah, are there some examples of other types?
That is the basic concept, the figure eight. Reversed figure eight, forward figure eight. If you can do those two, along with the straight outside single ones on the sides, and then the renewals from each, that's again, this is just a training tool. Jimmy was talking about his great uncle had a big ball and chain, huge ball on the end of it with a spike in it. And he said he used to whip that sucker around as fast as he could at demonstrations, and then he'd take it and slam it as hard as he could into the ground, and then defy anybody to take it out of the ground. And nobody ever did. And then he'd walk up after the demonstration is over, and he'd just grab it, yank it right out. He was a big man, very strong. But again, this is just a teaching tool, something to help you a little bit. And that's what we want to do, is to make your training a little simpler and a little easier. Okay, one more question. Yes, sir?
Regarding kicks and forms, because I've heard that, like, sometimes when you're doing like a side kick, that you should shift your hips, and I've heard other times that you shouldn't. Regarding that, like doing a downward motion, how much pivot should you have as far as supporting leg perform goes?
Well, remember, the majority of the power is going to come from your hips. So your hips have to be into the kick. It depends on where you were before. If you are in this position and you're kicking there, you're not going to get a lot of hip into it. It's just going to come up and out and back. But if you're going to do the side kick here, then you can get hip into it. So it really depends on the direction of the kick and the direction you're coming from. Okay, we're going to take let's go down.